It's 10 o'clock. This is Sky News at 10, live from Jerusalem, as our sources tell us a Gaza peace deal could be agreed within hours. As President Trump's top negotiators arrive at the talks in Egypt, he says he's planning to head to the region at the weekend.
It's something I think that will happen, got a good chance of happening. I may go there sometime toward the end of the week.
So tonight we ask, could the conflict, which has claimed thousands of lives on both sides of this border, be about to come to an end?
Also ahead on Sky News at 10, the Tory leader, Kemi Badenoch, says she will abolish stamp duty in a speech aimed at silencing her critics.
That is how we will help achieve the dream of home ownership for millions. Home ownership should be a dream that's open to everyone.
A woman accused of stalking shouts at the parents of Madeleine McCann as they give evidence in court. Police reveal that the Manchester Synagogue attacker pledged allegiance to Islamic State in a 999 call during his attack. And we'll take a first look at tomorrow's front pages. That's in our press preview from 10:30 right through to midnight.
Good evening from Jerusalem. Sources have told Sky News tonight that a peace deal to end the war could be agreed within hours. Once a deal is in place, the agreement would be implemented in phases, including a ceasefire and hostages being released. Our sources say an initial statement could be drafted this evening, although a sticking point remains over the final list of Palestinian prisoners to be freed. President Trump told reporters tonight that negotiations are going well and he could fly to the Middle East this weekend.
I was just dealing with people from the Middle East, Arab people and other people on the potential peace deal for the Middle East. Peace for the Middle East, it's a beautiful phrase, and we hope it's going to come true, but it's very close. And they're doing very well. We have a great team over there, great negotiators, and there are unfortunately great negotiators on the other side also. But it's something I think that will happen, got a good chance of happening. I may go there sometime toward the end of the week, maybe on Sunday, actually, and we'll see. But there's a very good chance negotiations are going along very well. We're dealing with Hamas and many of the countries. As you know, we have all of the Muslim countries are included. All of the Arab countries are included. Very rich countries and some that are not so rich, but just about everybody's included. It's never happened before. Nothing like that's happened before. And our final negotiation, as you know, is with Hamas. And it seems to be going well. So we'll let you know. If that's the case, we'll be leaving probably on Sunday, maybe Saturday, maybe a little later than Saturday evening. But that seems to be our schedule.
Well, in the last few minutes, President Trump had more to say about the talks as he was handed a piece of paper by the U.S. Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. Have a look.
People, Pam, go ahead, please.
Well, they're smart, but they're not smart enough. Oh, my microphone's broken. They're smart, but they're not smart enough. They have been covered by these liberal cities for so many years. And that's why we're all working with Treasury, with all these different departments, to find the criminal conspiracy.
Okay. I'm just giving. I was just given a note by the Secretary of State saying that we're very close to a deal in the Middle East, and they're going to need me pretty quickly. So I will take a couple of more questions. Please.
Thank you, sir. I also have two questions for you, if I may. Have you given any more thought to possibly suspending habeas corpus to not only deal with these insurrectionists across the nation, but also to continue rapidly deporting illegal aliens?
Yeah, it's suspending who?
Habeas corpus, sir.
Oh, I don't know. I'd rather leave that to Chris.
Extraordinary scene there. Marco Rubio handing Donald Trump a note, which he read out and said that we're pretty close to a deal in the Middle East. Well, the former Prime Minister of Israel, Ehud Barak, told me in the last hour that he believed the initial terms of the deal would be agreed, but later stages of the deal could still prove problematic. Have a listen.
They will be almost probably will be completed within the next 36 hours. The rest of the 16 might create some problems. I expect Trump to continue his pressure, and he can basically bring the terms. Both sides will have to make some compromises, but he can put an end to this war.
Ehud Barak speaking to me there a little earlier. Well, the political analyst and former advisor of the Palestine Liberation Organization, Xavier Abu-Eid, told me he's hopeful a deal will happen, but has concerns about what comes next.
Many people, including people I have personally spoken to in Egypt, are very optimistic that something may be announced in the next hours. Now, the question is, what is going to be announced? Because so far, what we know from this initiative is that within the first 72 hours, all Israeli captives are going to go home. There will be a number of Palestinian prisoners that will be released. And Israel will withdraw its forces to something like 50% of Gaza. So the question here is, what will be the role of the third party, of the mediators, of the guarantors, in order to make sure that a second and third stages of this plan are going to be implemented?
That was Xavier Abu-Eid there. Well, let's bring in our Middle East correspondent, Adam Parsons, who joins me live now. And Adam, this is quite an extraordinary moment, even to see President Trump receive that note from Marco Rubio saying we're pretty close.
Yeah, and then to go on and say, I'll only take a couple more questions because I'm needed quickly. That, to me, is a real signal, because President Trump has sent out to Sharm el-Sheikh two of his most trusted lieutenants in Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff. Anything that needs the president to be involved in those discussions says to me that we really are very close, because if his sign-off is required, that is surely only for big decisions. The smoke signals, the information that we are getting is all about the fact that this phase one is close to being done, or is potentially done. What does that mean? It means Hamas handing over the 48 hostages, 20 we think are alive, and the remains, although I think there's trouble getting all of those bodies of 28 others. It means the Israelis releasing 250 prisoners serving life sentences and 1,700 detainees. I expect Israel to make quite a big deal about saying, oh, this is so painful for us to do it. In reality, my sources are telling me this is done, we've agreed, we're going to let them go. And then that would mean a ceasefire. It means the Israeli troops moving back and a flood of humanitarian aid coming into Gaza. So we are potentially at a pivotal moment. All of these questions about what happens next are fundamentally important, and I think they are, to an extent, being shoved into the long grass, because the Arab states do not want Hamas involved, neither does Israel, neither does the United States, but Hamas still wants to have a presence. And so those things will be discussed. But the bottom line is the first phase deal seems to be on the brink of being agreed.
Adam, thank you so much. Let's go straight to Washington and bring in our US correspondent, Mark Stone. Mark, quite a few remarkable things have happened. The fact that we are even having this conversation so quickly after Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner were sent, which is what people were indicating would happen. Now this note handed over from Marco Rubio to Donald Trump.
Yeah, let's look at that moment again, because visually it is an extremely striking moment. Donald Trump in the White House. This happened only 5 minutes or so ago. He is at a round table about a completely different issue. And then, as you can see here, handed a letter or a note from Marco Rubio off camera. He reads it, and then moments later he announces that he needs to be quick because he's needed on the Gaza talks. Very, very significant indeed. I mean, OK, maybe the Trump administration likes a bit of theatre. To me, this didn't look like theatre. This looked like it was very much, as you can see here, a last-minute intervention by the Secretary of State to his president, saying, we need you, there is movement. So very, very significant indeed. I was told today from a source that this is the end game, that yes, there could be a few more days in it. I wonder if that is now the case. I wonder if we're moving much more quickly than that. But it certainly feels like there is genuine momentum. It was only an hour or two ago that Donald Trump announced or confirmed speculation that had been going for a couple of days or so, that he might travel to the region. Would he go to Sharm el-Sheikh? Would he instead maybe go somewhere else, perhaps to Israel as well? We're not entirely sure. I've actually got a note. I can see now in front of me what was on that bit of paper that Donald Trump was handed, because photographers managed to snap it. And from what I can read, it says very close. It's White House headed notepaper, very close, underlined. We need you to approve. I'm trying to read it now. Something social post. It's clearly a suggestion that they have written the social media post for President Trump to send. He does most of his work on social media. We need you to approve a social post. And I'm afraid I can't read the bottom two lines, but clearly momentum. So the next place to look, Yalda, is Donald Trump's Truth Social account for whatever he might approve that has clearly already been written.
Yeah, don't we always do that anyway, Mark? Thank you so much. We will be keeping an eye on that Truth Social page and post throughout the evening as we see this momentum building up. Mark is still waving something at the camera. Mark, what have you got there?
Yeah, you probably can't. Now this is the note, but actually I don't think on the screen it's going to focus properly, so you can't see precisely what it says at the moment. But yeah, a significant moment. The other thing, Yalda, I think we should watch, I must briefly say, over the next few hours and days, is Palestinians, leadership figures who perhaps have been in exile for many years, perhaps in jail in Israel, who could potentially be part of the release program, could come back from exile, who could play a very key role in the Palestinian leadership of any day after plan for Gaza. So watch this space there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Mark, no doubt you and I will be speaking again over the coming hours. Thank you so much. So as we were hearing there from both Mark and Adam there, momentum is building. We are hearing a lot from our sources who are following the developments on the ground as well. I heard that perhaps there will be an initial statement that will come out this evening. We'll be tracking that as well as Mark said, Donald Trump's social media pages as well. But Anna, for now, back to you in the studio.
Yalda, keeping a very close eye there. Thank you very much indeed. Now, the Conservative leader, Kemi Badenoch, attempted to silence her critics today with a promise to scrap stamp duty for people buying their main home. Her speech at the party's annual conference in Manchester certainly pleased Conservative members, but will it be enough to arrest the party's decline in opinion polls and to stop those reportedly plotting to replace her? Our political editor, Beth Rigby, reports now from Manchester.
This is the final day in Manchester. It's been a hard party conference for a leader with an awful lot to prove.
Leader of the Conservative Party, Kemi Badenoch.
Kemi Badenoch's long been low on energy. This her moment to take up the tempo.
We are fighting for small business owners, people who take risks and get things done. We are fighting for the farmers, putting food on our tables. These are our people, conference. They are the backbone of our country. We fought for them before, and we will fight for them again.
This is what her supporters wanted to hear, as Badenoch took on all her rivals too.
Whether it's Starmer, Farage, Corbyn or Davey, all these men are shaking the same magic money tree. More government, more taxes, more debt. It is irresponsible, it's cynical, and it's why Britain needs Conservatives back in charge.
Hers a policy-heavy speech from a leader in desperate need for a hearing, the Tories trying to win back their economic credibility.
I am introducing a new golden economic rule. Every pound we save will be put to work. At least half will go towards cutting the deficit, because living within our means is our first priority. And with the rest, we will get Britain growing and bring down the taxes that are stifling our economy.
There was plenty of red meat for this party too, from scrapping some art degrees to more bobbies on the beat. But this, the showstopper, that even some of her shadow cabinet didn't know about. And she made the most of it.
We can afford to make one more announcement.
Clearly enjoying the moment.
The next Conservative government will abolish stamp duty on your home. It'll be gone. I thought you'd like that one.
Badenoch's trying to do two things with this speech. First, assert her authority over her party, and second, try to get a bit of attention from you, the voter. She's hoping that her big promise to scrap stamp duty might get people to look at the Conservatives again. But as for her own future and her leadership, doubts over that are not going away. That's her first leader's speech. Will it be her last?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Let's get behind her.
What did you think of the Kemi you saw there today?
Let Kemi be Kemi. My goodness, we saw Kemi Badenoch today on stage, did we not?
It was sensational today. She encapsulated what conservatism is about.
There's constant talk about whether or not she can carry on as leader. Is May elections a real test point for her?
Kemi Badenoch is going to lead us into the next general election.
Nigel Farage is taking your votes. Why are you not going for Nigel Farage? Why?
Because
it's mad.
Because we don't define ourselves by other political parties. We have set out our agenda, and as people see what we are going to do for the country and for them, we will win back their support.
You will win back Reform voters?
Yes, absolutely.
Badenoch needed to win this room today, and her delight was plain to see. Lifting her party in Manchester, but still so far behind in the polls, the Conservatives with a mammoth task ahead, and her future still uncertain. Beth Rigby, Sky News, Manchester.
A woman accused of stalking the parents of Madeleine McCann shouted and sobbed in court today as they gave evidence against her. Prosecutors say Julia Wandelt, a 24-year-old Polish national, sent emails, made phone calls and turned up at the McCann's home while claiming to be missing Madeleine. Sky's Lisa Dowd sent this report from Leicester Crown Court.
Madeleine is a beautiful, bright, funny and caring little girl.
At the height of the search for her daughter in Portugal, Kate McCann was front and centre, clutching 3-year-old Madeleine's toy. She was desperate to find her. Nearly 2 decades on, it remains one of the UK's longest-running missing persons cases. Artists created images of what Madeleine looked like as she grew up, but it's alleged that one woman decided to try to convince the McCanns that she was their daughter. Julia Wandelt, who is 24 and from Poland, is on trial for stalking them. It's alleged she sent incessant messages to them, even turning up at their house in December 2024. Kate McCann told the court, "I pulled up on the drive. It was really dark. It was the weekend. We had the gales. I was opening the boot to get something out and I heard someone say, 'Kate.' I knew it was someone behind me, but I didn't know who it was. She called me Mum, I think. She was asking for a DNA test. Why won't you do a DNA test? And pleading with me." Mrs McCann said Wandelt was with co-defendant Karen Spragg from Cardiff, who was described as more aggressive and said, "Don't you want to find your daughter?" Kate McCann, who was giving evidence from behind a curtain, said she felt distressed. She managed to get inside the house and lock the door. At times, the defendant Wandelt, as she listened to the evidence, appeared to cry. She later shouted, "Why are you doing this to me?" as she left court. Every year in the McCann's home village of Rothley, there is this vigil for Madeleine. At one of these poignant gatherings, it's claimed that Wandelt turned up looking for the McCanns and constantly tried to contact them. Jerry McCann told the court, Kate was upset. I was getting frustrated and angry that these calls were coming. The phone went and I picked it up and answered it. I said, "You're not Madeleine. Please stop calling," and then hung up very, very quickly. I made it very clear these were unwanted calls. To be honest, it was a bit of a blur. Both Wandelt and Spragg deny stalking the McCanns. The trial continues. Lisa Dowd, Sky News, Leicester.
Police say the Manchester Synagogue terrorist called 999 to pledge allegiance to the Islamic State terror group during his attack. Jihad al-Shami was shot dead by armed officers after the attack last Thursday in Cromsall, in which 2 people were killed. Well, our North of England correspondent Katerina Vitozzi has more from the scene.
We've had a number of significant updates from the police today investigating this case. First from Counter-Terrorism Police Northwest, where they revealed that the suspect in this case, Jihadi al-Shami, during the attack itself on Heaton Park Synagogue, made a 999 call where he pledged his allegiance to the so-called Islamic State group. The Counter-Terrorism Police lead said that this indicated to them the ideology that was motivating Jihad al-Shami in carrying out this attack, but they said, of course, that would be something they would investigate further. Second, they released information about the people that had been arrested in connection with this attack. There had been 6 people in total. 2 of them were released on Sunday evening. The police today saying that the 4 others who remained in custody would also be released without charge by the end of Wednesday. We've also had a further update with regards to the ongoing IOPC investigation. That's the Independent Office for Police Conduct. Now, Greater Manchester Police, which was the responding force to this attack on Thursday last week, referred themselves to the IOPC after they revealed that it was a police bullet which inadvertently killed one of the men who died during this attack and one of the men who was also injured. And off the back of that, they referred themselves to the IOPC. Now, GMP said that they have been pleased to hear that no officers will be facing any further action of misconduct or disciplinary action from the IOPC on this matter. The IOPC, from their end, confirming that these officers would then be used as witnesses as part of the further investigation into this case. So those significant updates, both from counter-terrorism policing and Greater Manchester Police, but really that key detail about the timeline of what happened here, about the suspect, Jihadi al-Shami, calling 999 himself during the attack to pledge his allegiance to the so-called Islamic State group.
Well, let's return to that breaking news now. We know that Donald Trump was at the White House holding a meeting about Antifa, left-wing radicals, as he put it. But during that, the US Secretary of State handed him a note, if we look at those pictures, and Donald Trump took a moment to look at it. We now know what was in it. So let's bring in our US correspondent, Mark Stone, who's in Washington. And the note, really, Mark, putting Donald Trump front and centre of any announcement of what is coming out of Egypt.
Yes, an extraordinary moment. It kind of reminded me of that time when President George Bush was handed a note just after 9/11, a sort of a dramatic moment where an aide intervenes a meeting to pass the president a note. What we've done is we've reversed or mirrored that shot so you can see what was on the other side of the piece of paper as Donald Trump was looking at it. And what it says there is, we need you to approve a Truth Social post soon so you can announce deal first. A note handed from Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, to Donald Trump in the last 20 minutes. Donald Trump then said that he could only take a couple of more questions because he was needed quickly. And I guess the next thing to do is to watch his social media account, his Truth Social account. I mean, it's the suggestion is from that note that he is imminently going to announce a deal. So things moving incredibly fast tonight. Let's see. Let's keep an eye on his social media account. We will certainly do just that. But yeah, things moving fast tonight on Gaza.
Mark Stone, thank you very much indeed. Keeping a very close eye, as you say. The initial steps of any deal would presumably mean living hostages are freed, detained Palestinians released, and Israel withdraws to roughly 50% of the Gaza Strip. And there is a difficulty, as Mark Stone was telling us from his sources earlier this evening, that they can't release the dead hostages because they don't know where they are. So that will be a difficulty. But as you can see, the moment Donald Trump is called urgently in order to be able to sign off a social media post so that he can announce the deal first. We watch and we wait for that. Now, Afghans who have been kicked out of Iran after fleeing to the country in hope of a safer life have told Sky News they faced violence and beatings as part of Tehran's crackdown on migrants. Iran has deported 1.3 million Afghans this year, and now many say they are desperate to get back home. Well, Iran, which says it hosts more than 4 million undocumented Afghans, has been stepping up deportations for months following a rise in anti-Afghan sentiment. Our Asia correspondent, Cordelia Lynch, has this report from the Iran-Afghanistan border.
On a dusty, sweltering border, an influx of Afghans, dumped back to the homeland they tried to escape. These just some of the 1.3 million deported from Iran this year. Many with tales of violent arrests. Some trying to show us their bruises.
They took all my money by force. They took everything I had and sent me back to Afghanistan. They even beat me. They injured my ear. Is this how Islam is supposed to be practiced?
We've seen waves of people coming through here in the past few hours, some alone, some in groups, some in families, all facing very uncertain futures. At its peak, as many as 28,000 people have come through in one single day, some with just the clothes on their back.
Iran has rounded up and paraded Afghans online. These videos posted by police on social media. Tehran claims it can't afford to keep those living there illegally anymore. Fatima was among them. She says her family went there to escape poverty.
My two daughters worked from 6 in the morning until 8:30 at night, but they were never paid. The Iranians didn't give them any money.
Other children crossed alone, smuggled illegally. At just 15, Tahir is the breadwinner of his family, supporting 6 siblings and 2 parents. He's fearful of staying.
I love my homeland deeply, and I'm even ready to sacrifice my life for it. But if there is no work here, how can I survive? I have a family, and they have expectations of me. I have to work.
Tahir looks daunted, and he's not alone. These are just some of the many unaccompanied children flowing through here every day. The UN is taking them to nearby Herat, hoping to reunite them with their families. This is home for a day or two. But Tahir's disorientated. He says he's only just left a brutal detention centre in Iran.
They would force us to lie down on the concrete floor and kick us. In the detention rooms, if someone spoke up, they would be forced to lie on the ground. If they protested, they would be sent to a dark cell.
What do you fear will happen if you're not able to return to Iran?
I would rather kill myself than see my father begging for money for his hungry children. I couldn't bear it.
Nearly every single one of these boys says they were smuggled to Iran and beaten. But listen to this.
How many of you want to return to Iran? Wow.
We put their allegations of assault to the Iranian government, but no one responded to our request for comment. Others fled to Iran for an education. Girls are no longer able to go to secondary school in Afghanistan.
دلیل عمده که ما به ایران رفتیم به خاطر از اینکه
Every day brought a new restriction, a new policy aimed at preventing women from working. There was the compulsory niqab and also limitations on education for women and girls. When you see the future of your daughter, of your children, slipping away day by day, it's devastating.
How do you feel coming back to Afghanistan now, not being able to go to school?
I feel so sad. I used to recite poetry at school, but when the Taliban came to my city, I could not write or recite a single poem.
Tahir hasn't been home for 2 years. It's a bittersweet journey back. His siblings delighted to see him. His mother moved, relieved, but also torn.
Have you told your mum yet what your experience was like in Iran?
No, I have not told her anything. She has no idea where I was or what happened during my 16 days in detention.
Did you feel you had no choice?
Well, life here was very hard for him. We have a delivery cart, but with that alone, he couldn't pay for himself and also take care of me. He needs a stable life and a future.
It's a dynamic playing out across Afghanistan. Huge burdens on young shoulders and a country unable to share the load. Cordelia Lynch, Sky News, Herat in Afghanistan.
Well, that was Sky News at 10. Coming up, we'll take a first look at tomorrow's newspapers in the press preview tonight, joined by the political commentator, Adam Bolton, and the journalist and broadcaster, Carolyn Quinn. Welcome and lovely to see both of you. And among the stories we'll be discussing, this on the front page of the Daily Mail. It's headlined, Kemi fires up Tories with a pledge to scrap hated stamp duty. Keeping an eye certainly on Gaza as well. Back in a moment.